Hi, I'm Jill with She Speaks TV, and welcome to our series on Wine 101. Today we're talking about some common wine questions, things you've always wanted to know but might just be too afraid to ask. Well, we're not afraid to ask Kim, a sommelier here at Rebelle in New York City. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you so much. All right, so we have a couple questions. One, when we open wine and they come and they bring it to you and you hold it up and you're supposed to sniff it, and what do we look at? I do it because I know I'm supposed to, but I really don't know what I'm looking for. So what should we be looking for?
So there's a few things that we do which can be kind of obnoxious and pretentious maybe, but it actually is doing something to know something more about the wine. So generally what I do, I pour the glass, take a look. You can kind of look at the color if you want and see, you can see how old the wine is, if it's in good shape. Red, if it's older, it's going to be kind of this brick color, fading out to orange, and then but most of the time you don't need to look at that kind of stuff. But for the average person, what am I doing? And then so I always like to smell it, just because you want to see if the wine smells good. If you like the smell, there's so many different things that you could smell in a glass. But the thing you have to do, you have to make sure you stick your nose in the glass all the way. Okay. And you take a whiff, and then you can see if the wine is corked, which is usually what we tend to do. I open all the bottles before I bring them to the table. I kind of pour myself a much smaller taste and see if the wine is corked or if there's some other flaw. But if it smells good, I'm like, okay, good to go, bring it to the table. So that's the first thing you do. Other thing you can do is kind of look at how when people do this and hold it up to the light, they're looking at the tiers. Some people call it legs, kind of streaming down. And the different tiers can tell you, if it's kind of fast, it's gonna be a little lower in alcohol. If it's kind of slow, it's higher in alcohol. It's all this stuff that kind of, when you're doing blind tasting, it makes sense, but most of the time you don't really need to.
Yeah. Doesn't really matter. Okay.
And yeah, those most important thing, just smell the wine. It makes it as part of the pleasure,
it, right?
and taste it.
Given that letting wine age, is it better to, when you buy a bottle of wine, like let it age, or should you drink it now, or how do you know?
Yeah, I think, there's so many different kinds of wine. Some are intended to age, some are not. It doesn't make one better than the other. It just means they're for different purposes. So if you want to buy a bottle to age, I probably would recommend doing something that's not at the $5 counter. Right. You might want to investigate a little bit, research, make sure that it's from a good, a credible winemaker or domain, that it's a good year, all of these sort of things. If you're going to spend like $60 on a bottle or more to have it for a longer period of time.
The better it gets?
Yeah, certain wines. So like Bordeaux, for example, it's this region that's so famous for its great wine, but it's part of the reason is that the wines that are made there, they're very tannic and very dense. And a lot of times with wines that are that tannic, you don't want to drink it now. So you don't want to drink a current release of that wine. You want to age it, and you're kind of doing it a disservice by opening it early, actually. Okay. But then wines like this Beaujolais Nouveau we have here, that's totally made to drink now.
Well, speaking of
and it's delicious.
Drinking now and opening wine, the question that I'm always wondering is how long is too long when you've opened that bottle of wine? If you don't finish it, when should you drink it then?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I don't really have a firm answer on that, but I would say 2 to 3 days is probably okay for wine that's kept in the fridge. You could keep it for a week or so, see how it tastes. If you think it tastes okay. It doesn't go
bad though, it just tastes.
It just might lose its kind of, I was going to say firmness, but more its potency. It's not the acid falls off, the finish falls off. It kind of deteriorates.
I might just think I don't like the wine, but it could actually be that I did like the wine, it's just lost its flavor.
Yeah, it loses its flavor. That's pretty much what it is.
Okay, and then another question is, a lot of times now we see box wine or screw cap wine. Just because it's cheaper or comes in a box, does that necessarily mean it's less quality?
No, not at all. So box wine, it's great if you we poured this rosé that comes in a box, and that's how you should always drink rosé. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, there's certain wines that you just are there to kind of drink every day, go with your meal, and the box keeps it actually better for longer. It doesn't. You're talking about how long we should keep wine open. This is going to protect it from oxygen. It's going to keep it lasting longer, and you can have it for like more than a week for sure.
What about screw caps?
Screw caps, similar kind of idea. It's just those wines are not made to be aged. So corks are much better for aging, although there's also some discussion on that topic too, but generally Screw Cap is made for drinking now. It doesn't mean that it's a bad wine.
All for drinking now. All right.
So,
well, thank you so much. We hope we've answered some of your questions. And if you have any other questions, put them in the comments section below because we'd love to hear them. And for more great videos like these, subscribe to She Speaks TV.